Alrighty, this is the backtesting session for June the 6th to June the 10th, 2022. The week before that, we secured 4R. We had NFP, sorry, on Friday. And then Thursday, which is a little bit slow. So we'll see how the following week is after that. Let's check out the news. So as for Monday, we got nothing. We can see that we have CPI on the table for Friday. We don't trade CPI days at all. They're impossible to trade with this model, so we are not doing Friday. Now, I have all the liquidity marked up here just to save some time on the video. So right off the bat, there is a lot of freaking buy side liquidity here, so I'm just gonna react with the way that price moves, and that's pretty much how I'm going to determine where I'm going to be trading. So immediately it looks like that previous day high is going to be the draw on liquidity there, and then same goes for NASDAQ. So let's see what happens. Just jump on the 10-minute time frame here. So let's see. Okay, there we go. We took out a previous session high there, although pretty weak break. I mean, it's just little to no reaction. So let's see what happens. Okay. Interesting. Now, I really do want this other previous session high to be swept, so it's kind of the reason why I'm not even considering a sell. This is kind of just really part of the game where it's not always about like, oh, because we swept the previous session high, let me look for a sell. No, that's not the case, because, well, if that was the case, I was looking for a sell here. This would be what? The market structure shift here. If we go on the 5-minute time frame, I don't know about you, man, but that's not looking like something I want to trade. And not just that, if we take out our Fibonacci tool, we can see that nothing really closed in that area. So I'm not, there we go. That's why we didn't take that. Just was not looking clean at all. Now that I have this previous session high swept, now I'll be more comfortable with either a sell or EM1 V2 towards the previous day high. So for that to happen, I need the market to create a range, and it came back here. If we have a breaker structure here, then we can look for EM1 V2. No, okay. So that being the case, this is valid for EM1 V1 towards the previous day low. Well, however, with that being said, considering how far away the order block is, this is probably not even going to hit. So this would be the order block right there. The drawn liquidity being that previous day low. Okay, so we had another 10-minute breaker structure here before the entry. So there is nothing that we can take here. The only way we can even consider taking this is kind of through this EM1 V2 kind of variant, but not really something I would be looking to take. But let's see here. We got the 10-minute break of structure. Market broke this previous session low, came up, had a strong break. So this could be valid for our EM1 V2 towards the previous day low. Yep. So we can see if we take a look. Let's confirm order block using the 8-minute time frame. This is a strong order block here. No, I don't like that. I would rather use that range there. So let's see how big the stop loss is. Okay, the stop loss is below 50 ticks, so we can take this for 3R. And we can see it kind of aligns pretty nicely with the previous day low. So it's looking like a pretty strong entry. Let's see. Okay, so at this point in time, we can see that we created, if we go on a 10-minute here, we created another low. We created another low here for a break of structure. So I essentially want to break this low. The second we touch this low, I'm setting break even, right? That's pretty much how we have our risk parameters here. Oh man. Okay, so not looking good here. So the second 4 p.m. comes around, it's pretty much just closed trade, so I guess we have a partials. Nothing happened this day, is what it is. So stop loss size 45. It is ES. So this is gonna be a EM1 V2 pair ES. It's gonna be partials. It was about like 1. Whenever I do partials, I just consider it to be 1R if it's anything above, and then I just don't. I don't know. Partials don't really happen that often, so it's a little bit odd. 45. It was kind of a big stop loss, so I guess I could see. I mean, we couldn't have done much better with it anyways. Because I suppose, a lot of the times with entries like this, you'd be taking this entry here, and then, in that case, it would have been a 3R, a pretty nice 3R. But considering a lot, to be quite frank, I was just not that comfortable with that entry. So, nonetheless, we're okay with the partials. All right. That is it for Monday. Let's take a look at NASDAQ here, 2-minute time frame. So remember, originally I am looking to take out at least this previous session high. I could care less, honestly, about this one here because there's so much buy side liquidity. I'll only feel comfortable if we take out at least a majority of the buy side before even considering a sell. So let's see what happens here. So remember, we could still be looking for our EM1 V2 towards the previous day high, as we didn't know how it would play out back then. So this is technically a strong reaction off of the previous session high. So let's see if this broke strongly on the 5-minute time frame. Not at all. Not at all. So this would be a 10-minute break of structure. So just to quickly teach this again, wick low to the wick high with the Fibonacci strength tool. The next 3 candles have to close above this for me to even consider our EM1 V2. That was not at all the case, so we are disregarding this entire setup. I'm not interested, and for good reason. So we swept some sell side liquidity. At this point in time, I'm not at all comfortable with what it's doing. I'm going to want either this previous session low or this previous session high to get swept before considering a trade. Okay, so we just tapped into that previous session high. So same story. I could either be looking for EM1 V2 towards the previous day high, or the market could come all the way down here, and then we'll see what happens. So this would be a bearish market structure shift here, and then up here it'd be a breaker structure. So let's see what happens. Okay, there we had our market structure shift. So this is all looking like a fake out from the previous day high. Instead, it's going to the previous day low. So at this point in time, we could be looking for a EM1 V1. However, because we just swept the previous session low, instead I will be favoring a EM1 V2. So I'm looking for a break of structure. Well, a strong reaction, first of all, off of this premium array here. And I'm waiting for a strong reaction, given that this is actually a range, which it's not. So this is the new low here. Okay, there we go. So this is now a nice 10-minute break of structure right there. Okay, now we want to look for our order block, which is going to be right here. I'm not really liking those equal highs, so for that reason, instead of covering just the order block, I'm going to cover the swing high as well, because the stop loss is above 100 ticks, but not above 200. I am going to be looking for a 2R take profit. Now, keep in mind, we do want to keep track of the 10-minute time frame, because if a break of structure occurs before the entry, I can no longer consider the entry. So we actually just got tagged in right there. Well, we can see we made definitely a great decision there. So now we have our low here that we need to watch out for to set our break even. Or actually, you know what? No, I would have hit take profit if it goes all the way there. Okay. We can see there anyways that we did hit our take profit. So this is a nice little 2R entry that we had here in 1v2. Bit of a rough day for sure, because we can see like we even kind of broke that order block. But if we go on the 15-minute time frame, or let's go to a higher time frame than that. Actually, it was just one huge fake out the way the way it looks. So there we go. So 2R EM1 V2 towards the previous day low. Let's shut it down. Not really a clean setup though. I'm not a fan of what I'm seeing. 173. So EM1 V2. Stop loss size before I forget, and then that was 2R. When did this occur? The PM session. Okay. PM session, I was risk 0.5. So I guess for the day we're really up 3R. Since the partials here, we can see that we closed at about 1R. So far 3R. I really hate counting the partials, but I mean you can visually see here it was at 1R. So I mean the day is gonna be pretty much over there. So that is it for Monday. Check out Tuesday. 10 a.m. Treasury Sec Yellen speaks. Interesting. So let's go here. Let's do the same. Okay, cool. All right. Before I forget, let's mark up our news buffer. Remember, 10 to 15 minutes before news, and then 10 to 15 minutes after news. I'm not trading in between these times. Yeah, well, that's exactly. It's a smart thing to do for sure. It's helped me with numerous mistakes, especially with Dow. I mean, I don't trade Dow anymore because I would just get swept so much, and then it would go into my direction. It was just so irritating. All right, cool. Previous day low, we can see here was swept. So we can't look for EM3 because the daily liquidity was swept before New York session. So we can only look for our EM2 model. So with that being said, our overall target for the day is going to be this previous session high. If this previous session high gets swept before an entry, then, well, there's no more entries for the day. And before I even consider this buy model here, I want to see at least this previous session low swept, or an old previous session low, which actually was swept already. So that might, okay, it might reverse right away actually, but we'll see what happens. Okay. Let's do the same thing for ES here. Looking like the same story. So previous day low, swept already. Can't look for an EM3 for the same reasons. The overall target's going to be this Asian liquidity. So PSH, and then okay, I'm liking the way this is looking, because like we have all of these relative equal lows here. So the market's kind of looking like we want to drop a little bit more to the sell side before we have that retracement trade come up. So okay, we got more down here, more swing lows, very strong. So now that we got it all set up, I am looking for at least the minimum this previous session low to get swept before I consider a buy. Let's go to the 10-minute time frame. Okay. Okay, well, it didn't really look like we had any opportunity for an entry here. So, is what it is. Going to 5-minute here. Oh, yeah. Because we had our 10-minute. Like, technically speaking, like, this would have been the swing high required for a 10-minute market structure shift, but oh man, let's just take a look at what would have happened here, because we identified we had this breaker structure here. So this being the 10-minute MSS. So technically speaking, if we break this 10-minute MSS, literally following the rules to the bone, this could be a strong, very strong buy model entry. It's definitely something I need to be weary of, because I keep going too quick with the replays here. We can see we have our news right there. So for this entry to be valid, we would need to take this before news happens. Like, I kid you not, if the market is, say, just like consolidating and I don't have an entry before this news gap that I have here, I'm literally not taking the trade. The second news is done, if it's not invalidated my trade entry, then I'll replace my buy limits. But taking a look at the stop loss size, it's at 19 ticks. And if we take a look at our rules here for S&P, if the stop loss size is below 25 ticks, we are safe to take it for a 4-hour take profit. So now let's just take a quick look here at the EM2 rules, because I do want to provide some transparency. So entry model 2, they're, at least for a sell model scenario, right, we need to sweep the daily liquidity first, right? In this case, we have two scenarios, right? But we're going to be following scenario B. So market does not have an immediate reversal after the previous day high, which we can see here. It did not occur that way. So we go to scenario B. Market does not do A, and instead market sweeps an old previous session liquidity, which in this case, we swept a previous session low, and we had our 10-minute market structure shift. We had a strong market structure shift identified on the 5-minute time frame. We validated it with the Fibonacci strength confluence, and we are still within our risk parameters here. So this is a valid entry for 4R, given that the entry happens before the news. So we can see here that we have been tagged because it happened before news. We would be setting break even there. But overall, we can see here that it was a full take profit of 4R, which is absolutely excellent. So that is a EM2 win there. Let's mark this up in our journal. 4R, it's not bad. June 7th, 19. Okay, so EM2, pair, ES, closed 4R. Risk, always risk point. Well, I risk 0.25 now, but 0.5 is what I used to risk. Stop loss size was 19. And then there we go. Very quick in and out trade. It's what I like to see. So the moment that was tagged in there, I'm not interested in anything else for the day. So let's take a quick look at NASDAQ. So same story. We swept the previous day low. So I want to sweep either this session low or this old previous session low before considering a buy scenario. All right, there we go. We had our previous session low swept. Here is our 10-minute swing high that is required for a bullish market structure shift. So let's go on the 5-minute time frame to validate this scenario. Oh. Okay, so we can see here that we had a strong, very strong market structure shift here. Very strong. So let's take a look for our order block here. So let's take a look at the size. It's probably massive. Yeah, okay. Okay, I'd be much more comfortable with an extreme. Let's go on the 8-minute to see what is more obvious here. So Okay, so I'd be comfortable with this here. It is above 100 ticks, so for that reason, the take profit for this trade would be 2R. Now, we have to be very careful, right, because the news buffer is there. So I kid you not, I will be staring at my MT5. If the entry does not occur before this news buffer happens, or we can actually, sorry, yeah, before the news buffer happens, I delete the entry, and I'm not interested in looking for any trades until after we're out of the range. Nothing. Okay, is what it is. So this entry would be deleted right now until we're out of that range. Okay, we're out of the range. However, we can see if we go on the 10-minute time frame here, we had a break of structure, so therefore invalidating the setup, and we hit our liquidity target. So that is it for Tuesday. Now let's take a look at Wednesday. There's no news whatsoever, so nothing to mark up there. Let's let this play out. Okay, cool, awesome. All right, let's mark up our liquidity. So previous day high, clearly can see that we're much closer to the previous day high. So I am looking for a buy. Let's mark up our previous session low target here just in case the EM2 occurs. Pretty unlikely that we're gonna get an entry, but you know, it's possible. So it is possible. We'll see what happens. Okay, previous session high. Okay, do the same thing for ES. ES is a little more likely we could have a buy model here. In a perfect world, we could sweep that previous session low and have some more wiggle room, but probably not gonna happen. So let's go on a 10-minute time frame here. Remember, we are reacting to price. There is every reason and potential that we're not even gonna touch that previous day high, and we could just go to this previous day low, right? But I'm not predicting that. I'm reacting to the way market moves to my lines here, right? If it doesn't, you know, if market shows me there's a strong will to go to that previous day low, then I'll trade towards that previous day low. It's as simple as that. Okay, so we swept the previous session low there. So had a very weak reaction below, so I'm still favoring the previous day high. So who knows, maybe this is going to be a nice EM1v2. But if the market continues to break down and this is like a break of structure continuation, then we can look for a sell. We'll just see what happens. Oh my god, that is disgusting. Okay, so this is a little interesting. I don't want to be seeing that. Okay, so sorry about that. Okay, 5. So we had a break of structure here, making this a new high. Okay, so this is still the high here. So if we just go back here, it looks like market had a very strong sell side liquidity right there. I'm gonna take a wild guess. There's some FEGs in there, so this is looking pretty nice for a buy if we break the structure here. So we can see that we did break our 10-minute structure there. If we take our Fibonacci tool, we can see that the candle body did close above the 2 red lines. So this is a very strong buy model scenario. Now this candle is massive, so we might not get our entry, but we can try. You never know. Okay, so I'm only interested, by the way, in tapping it if this works out by touching the candle body volume, because the candle's so big, and because the stop loss is above 50 ticks but not above 70. I'm only interested in a 2R take profit, and we can see it's decently aligned with the previous day high. So See what happens. So we got tagged in there. We want to take a look here. Now, keep in mind, we did touch this previous session high. The second we tag a previous session high, and this doesn't happen too often, so that's the reason why I haven't mentioned it. Realistically, you want to think about it, right? If the market tags a previous session high and you're in a buy scenario, you should be placing your break even, because there should be no reason for it to be returning back to this entry point unless this was all just one big fake out. So at this point in time, I would be setting the trade to break even. Well, there you go. So that would have been a break even trade, and then there you go. I just explained it for you here without even accidentally playing it forward. There's a reason why these models are set up this way. So we can see that the market did return back after having that previous session high. So that tells me this is a Judas swing. The moment this trade goes into break even, I'm interested in looking for sells, because this is telling me that this was one huge fake out. So this is a break even trade. Stop loss size 51. This is on ES. The day is Wednesday, I think. Yeah, Wednesday. So EM1. That kind of sucks too, because that looked like a very strong model, but react to price. Break even. 0.5 AM session 51. Okay. Alrighty. So let's delete all of this. We now know that that is a Judas swing. So the second we got tagged out of that trade, I'm interested in looking for the 10-minute swing for a microstructure shift, which is going to be right there. So all of this is internal right now. I'm not at all interested in what's going on there. Oh, okay. So there we have it. That's our market structure shift there. We can't be looking for an EM1 V2 because we already tried using that previous session low. So I'm no longer interested in using that area as an area of a premium. The only thing I can look for now is just an order block to take an entry off of. Let's see here. This could arguably be a decent order block. However, the size of this thing is just, it's a freaking dinosaur. But, it is under 70 ticks. So I'd be okay with taking this for 2R. If it was above, or if it was 70 or above, this would be completely invalid. So, okay. So we can see that we had a 10-minute break of structure here before the entry, so this entire setup is invalid. So pretty much I can't take anything else until something different occurs. And we can see here that the market closed. So nothing for ES. Let's take a look on NASDAQ. Maybe it'll be a different story. NASDAQ actually played a little bit differently. We can see here that we swept that previous session high. So if the market structure shift occurs around, this time before 8, I'd be interested in looking for a sell. Because if we take a look at ES, right? Like if we still haven't gone through it, let's see. 840. We can see that we haven't swept much here, where in this case we still have this session low here. So let's see what happens. Okay, so 8 a.m., right? That's when we are allowed to take our entries. So let's see what happens here. We swept the previous session high. Let's see if this, no. Okay, so this is not following the Fibonacci strength tool. So the next 3 candles need to break below that area, or I am not interested. So 1, 2, 3. None of those candles closed, so I'm disregarding this entire setup here. I'm not interested. Huh. Interesting. Okay, moved very differently on here. So, um, the market, weird enough, actually took out the previous day high here, but we didn't do that on ES. So, is this really a day that you want to be trading? Probably not. So, now, because let's see on ES at that same time, let's take a look. That all happened around 9:40. Let's see, 9:40. That's when we had our failed entry there. Alrighty, so we swept the previous day high on NASDAQ. So at that point in time, I'd be interested in seeing if the previous day high here would be swept, right? Because in my rules, I pretty much can't look for an EM2 or EM3 on NASDAQ until I take out a daily target on ES, because I want to make sure I'm trading them on the same bias. So anyways, we can see here, similar kind of scenario. If I was looking for an EM2, we had our previous session low target met already before entry. So that would end the trading day for NASDAQ. So overall, nothing really for that day there. I know it's cool. So let's take a look at Thursday. Unemployment claims at 8:30. So let's go to Thursday. Now, remember, CPI is on Friday, so I am not trading Friday. Thursday is going to be the last day that we are backtesting. Okay, cool. And what time was that news again? 8:30. So let's drop our news buffer. So 8:12 and then 48. Yeah, 48. Okay, cool. Do the same thing for NASDAQ. Okay. Let's go on the 12 minutes again and look for our liquidity. Previous day low is looking really good considering all of those equal lows, but again, we react to how price moves. For all I know, it could just be trying to reel in some different types of traders I'd be looking at as obvious sell side liquidity. Okay. Okay. Do the same thing for ES. Previous day low. And previous day high. Alrighty. Let's see what happens. Probably going to have to wait for the news to go by, but... Okay, previously low swept. So, we want to see the market return to this now premium array. See if it has a reaction. Keep in mind, we still haven't touched it. Oh my god, this is horrible, man. Okay, so technically, not looking like it, but technically, this would be our break of structure after reacting to the market. But we can see that, for a break of structure, it has to be a bearish candle. In this case, it's a bullish candle. And it's also the candle that reacted to the premium array. And then if we take a look at the next 10-minute break of structure, which occurs right here, that would make this the order block. However, given that the range is so bad, this is not something I'm taking, man. Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, because that's rough. Okay, anyways, I need to move back a little bit here. So I'm just trying to read it as I normally would. So at this point, I'd be looking for EM2. Oh, this is ugly PA, man. Yeah. Oh, it's probably just gonna be a dead day. No, okay, yeah. Yeah, literally nothing happened. Okay. All right. That's it for ES. Take a look at NASDAQ. See what happens. Okay. News pretty much powered that move to sweep the previous day low. So now this turns into a premium array that we could potentially use for our EM3 model. Okay, we need to move back a little bit here. So this, if given that, this next candle actually closes, this could be a 10-minute break of structure to help us identify EM3. If, the market first returns to that premium array, remember we can't, we have to return to that premium array before considering an EM3, because I need to see that strong reaction. But look, this is not good, man. No, it's looking like it's going to be the same scenario as ES. Yeah, so we returned back. So if we have another range, I could potentially try to look for an opportunity. But it's not looking like it as of now. No, see here. Yeah, no, I'm not liking the way that looks. Yeah, no, okay. No entries. No entries. So I guess that's the end of the week there. If we take a quick look at how much R we made for the week, we got 2R there. We already have this 1R partial here. That closed. So 3R for Monday, 4R for Tuesday. So that's 5, 6, 7. Break even on Wednesday. Nothing for Thursday and Friday is CPI. So I need to quickly note that down. Actually, I forgot to do that last week. So CPI, and then this is news as well. This was NFP. Okay, so 3, 4, so 5, 6, 7. So that's total of 7R for the week.